Shall we start now? Iram?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So in yesterday's class, we have discussed about the preamble of the Constitution of India. And as per the preamble of the Constitution of India, we have seen that the preamble of the Constitution of India helps us in understanding the nature and objective of the Constitution of India. That is the sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic. And we have also discussed the meaning of what is sovereign, what is socialist, what is secular, and what is democratic, and what is republic. And we have seen the objective of the Indian Constitution is to give social justice, economic justice, and political justice, and then liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, and equality of status and opportunity to all. So ultimately, that will lead to the fraternity among the Indians. Might lead dignity of the individual and unity and integrity of the nation. So that's what we have discussed yesterday. So as the objective of the Constitution of India, which is trying to achieve all these, that is economic justice, political justice, social justice, then it is trying to provide promote fraternity among the Indians, and it is trying to provide equal opportunity and equality of status. So how all these things are being achieved? So now we will be discussing the next and very, very important part of the Constitution of India, that is the fundamental right. But before I start with the fundamental right, we will be just seeing some important, the information with respect to the Indian Constitution. Can you see the official website of the Constitution of India? This website I am referring while explaining the Constitution of India. This is the official website of the government of India. तो यहाँ से हम उसको देखेंगे कि what are the important aspect of the Constitution of India. So you can, the Indian Constitution, is it visible to all of you on your screen? Swapnil, Sagar, Iram?
Yes, sir.
So the Indian Constitution, yes, the Constitution of India is having around 25 parts. The Constitution of India is a very bulky book. This is one of the written constitution in the world, because in the beginning there were unwritten constitution of the countries, like it may be a France constitution or it may be an Indian constitution. In India also, like even before the modern constitution which was written by our Constituent Assembly, इससे पहले, even before the British came in India, during the Mughal period, during the Sultanate period, or even prior to that, during the Gupta period, during Ashoka's period, or even during the Vedic period, there was no written constitution. All the political system was run by convention. It was run by, you can say, the tradition. बट ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया जो बनाया गया था, जैसे हमने कल डिस्कस किया था, that as per the cabinet mission plan, Constituent Assembly was created, and in that Constituent Assembly, the members from the various parts of the country, from the various provinces of the country, like उस समय में India was divided into various provinces, like Bombay province, like Madras province, or Central province, then a northern province, then western frontier province, Punjab province, Bengal province, etc. तो यहाँ से कुछ representatives को भेजा गया था, and some of the representatives were also from the the princely states. तो इंडिया में princely states थे, those members were a part of that Constituent Assembly. तो Constituent Assembly ने एक constitution बनाया. So it is a written constitution, and Indian Constitution is considered as one of the bulkiest constitution in the world, and that is why we can say that the Indian Constitution has been divided into 20 different parts. Different parts का मतलब होता है, different, you can say, the chapters or sections of the Constitution. So in the beginning, there were only around 18 parts, but some parts have been added to the Constitution by constitutional amendment. जैसे हमने शुरुआत में एक टॉपिक देखा था, मेंस एग्जाम में टॉपिक है, that is historical underpinnings, evolution of the Indian Constitution, that we need to know, and we need to know the amendment in the Constitution, and we need to know the features of the Indian Constitution. तो जैसे हमने देखा था कि इंडिया के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स किए गए हैं पिछले 75 इयर्स में, तो एज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट अमेंडमेंट और एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दैट अमेंडमेंट, originally in Indian Constitution there were only 18 parts, but now we have around 25 parts. And along with that 25 parts, we are having around 12 schedules. 12 schedules, so मतलब क्या होता है, some extra, the attachment is there with the Indian Constitution. So in the beginning, there were only again, 8 schedules. 4 schedules have been added to the Constitution later on. बाद में add किए गए हैं. So overall, you can say that Indian Constitution is having around 395 articles. सब कुल मिलाकर there are 395 articles. Article 1, 2, 3, 4. Likewise, we have around 395 articles. And all these 395 articles are organized in 25 different parts, in which different chapters are there. Each chapter deals with a different subject. Part 3 deals with fundamental right, part 4 DPSP, part 5 deals with executive, legislature, etc. Then likewise, there are total 25 parts, and all these 395 articles are divided into all these 25 parts. Apart from this, we are also having 12 schedules. All of you understood what is the how is the composition of the Constitution of India? Such type of questions can be asked to you in state PCS exam. They might be asked to you in clerical type of exam. वहां पर पूछे जा सकते हैं. UPSC is not more concerned about the facts, but उसके बावजूद भी आपको ये पता होना जरूरी है कि इंडिया का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन 25 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड है, and there are total 395 articles as of now and 12 schedules. I will be discussing each and every schedule in detail later on. Is it clear? Now let's move on to a very, very important part of the Indian Constitution. That part is called as fundamental right. So part 3 of the Indian Constitution is having information with respect to the fundamental rights. ठीक है? Is my voice audible to all of you? Can you all hear my voice? Hello, am I audible? Sagar, आवाज येतोय माझा?
Okay. Yes, sir. Now it's clear, but in between, voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the Indian Constitution is having 25 parts. So each part is having different chapter. Each part is having different information. So you can see part 1 of the Indian Constitution has information with respect to the union and its मतलब क्या है कि इंडिया में कितने स्टेट्स हैं और कितनी यूनियन टेरिटरी हैं, and how all these the states have come together. So part 1 is basically is having the name and the territory of the union. तो इंडिया में कितने स्टेट्स गवर्नमेंट और कितनी यूनियन टेरिटरी, that is what is explained here. Now article 2 of the Indian Constitution, the very first article of the Indian Constitution is about the name and the territory of the union. Second is about जो है दूसरा जो है citizenship of India, like who can get the citizenship and who will not get the citizenship. That is what is explained. So there are various provisions related to that. I will be discussing about the citizenship in detail later on. But today we are going to discuss and we are going to start a very, very important part of the Indian Constitution, जिसपे सबसे ज्यादा क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं, both in prelims as well as in mains exam. That is what is called as fundamental rights. So can anybody tell me what are fundamental rights? You must have studied in school. School में आपने शायद ये पढ़ा होगा कि there are certain fundamental rights given to the citizens of country. So what are these? Iram or Sagar, anybody can explain me what are fundamental rights? What you have understood about fundamental? Yes, Iram. Swapnil, is my voice audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Iram, can you please check your mic again and speak it again?
Yes, sir. I'm audible now. Hello.
Get your voice, Kiran. Yes. Yes, Kiran. I can hear you now. So, what are fundamental rights?
Sir, the fundamental rights are basically the rights to give the feeling of security among the people of India, like to give them rights on certain things. That's the fundamental right. Right means to give them the right to equality, right to like place their religions, to practice, profess their religions. There are fundamental rights that they are mentioned in part 3 of the Constitution under Article 12 to 35, fundamental rights.
सर तुमचा आवाज येत नाही सर.
Sat, Iram, can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear.
Okay. Yes, Iram, can you please repeat it again? Like, what do you understand by the term called fundamental rights?
Like fundamental rights to ensure the fullest physical, mental, and moral development of every citizen.
Okay, so the fundamental rights are given to the citizens of the country, or it is given to non-citizens as well?
Like it is exceptional that certain rights are given to citizen as well as to the foreigners also, and except matlab, aliens, foreigners that against the India, they are not allowed the fundamental rights, but certain rights are given to citizen as well as foreigners, and certain rights is given only to the citizens of India.
Very good. So fundamental rights are basically, the rights which any citizen or any human being, like not only citizen, कोई भी जो कुछ ह्यूमन बीइंग होते हैं उन्हें होना जरूरी है. These rights are very fundamental in nature. Like without these rights, a person or a citizen cannot, live in any country without any, fear. And that is why these fundamental rights are given. But these fundamental rights are given, like as you have said rightly, that fundamental rights are given for the protection of certain rights of the citizens. So protection of rights against whom? Like who violates the fundamental rights? मतलब कोई तो होगा जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स को वायलेट करता होगा, जिसकी वजह से ये सिटीजन्स को ये राइट दे
स्टेट सर.
जरूरी हो गया, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर्स के लिए. You got my question, Hiram? Like protection of the citizens' rights against whom? Like who violates the fundamental rights?
Like people of India, states violates the fundamental right. That's why we created the fundamental rights, that it should not be violated by the people of India or the government.
So is fundamental right violated by the people, or the fundamental right is violated by the state? Like ये जो फंडामेंटल राइट जो दिए गए हैं सिटीजन्स ऑफ इंडिया के लिए, these fundamental rights are for the citizen against the state.
For the citizen.
Got it, Hiram? Yes, for the citizens against the state. Against the state का मतलब होता है स्टेट जो कभी कभार आर्बिट्ररीली जो लोगों के जो हक है, जो लोगों के जो हुकूक है, उनको वो वायलेट करता है. कौन से है वो हम देखेंगे बाद में. We will discuss about it. What are the rights, fundamental rights given to the citizens of India as per the Constitution? That I will discuss it later on. But you need to remember that the fundamental rights are, violated by the state. Yes, sometimes they are also violated by the, by the normal people as well. But उस समय में भी उस violated fundamental right को restore करने की जिम्मेवारी ये state की होती है. Got it? So basically, you can say the fundamental rights are given to the citizens against the arbitrary power of the state. मतलब जो state होता है, जो government होता है, वो powerful होता है. मतलब ये गवर्नमेंट ही क्या कर सकता है, लोगों के लाइक जैसे कि राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन, राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ लाइफ, राइट टू इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी. हम वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस अबाउट ऑल दिस, लाइक आर्टिकल 19 हो या आर्टिकल 25 हो, आर्टिकल 16 हो, ये सारे जितने भी फंडामेंटल राइट्स दिए गए, मेजोरिटी ऑफ दिस राइट्स कैन by the. That is why the very first article of the fundamental right chapter defines the state. The article, अब हम देखेंगे कि from article 12 to article 35 तक fundamental right वाले chapter में है. The very first article of the fundamental right why it defines the state, because fundamental rights, since they are violated by the state, it becomes very imperative, ये जरूरी बन जाता है कि स्टेट को डिफाइन करना कि स्टेट कौन होता है, बिकॉज फंडामेंटल राइट्स ये स्टेट वायलेट. So part 3 of the Indian Constitution contains the fundamental rights guaranteed to the Indian citizens. Remember, these are the rights of the citizens, and in some cases all persons, like some all persons, matlab those non-Indian citizens as well. They are classified into 6 categories. ये जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स है वो 6 अलग अलग कैटेगरी में क्लासिफाइड किए गए, जैसे कि राइट टू इक्वालिटी, देन राइट टू फ्रीडम, देन राइट टू लाइफ, देन राइट टू रिलीजन, देन राइट टू रेमेडी, देन राइट टू डबल जियोपार्डी. ऐसे कुछ 6 कैटेगरी. So there are total 6 categories of the fundamental rights which has been given in the Constitution of India. Clear? Now let's move on to one by one. Now very first article under article 12 under fundamental right is article 12, that is the definition of the state. Now let's understood why article 12 defines the state, or the very first article of the fundamental right defines the state, because सबसे पहले स्टेट क्या है इसको डिफाइन करना जरूरी है, बिकॉज स्टेट फंडामेंटल राइट को वायलेट करता है, या स्टेट की जिम्मेवारी है कि जो फंडामेंटल राइट जो वायलेट हुआ है उसको रिस्टोर करे. क्लियर? सो इट कुड बी द स्टेट which can take away the fundamental right to religion, right to life, right to equal opportunity, right to equality before law, or right against exploitation, या ये सारे जितने भी फंडामेंटल राइट दिए गए हैं वो स्टेट ही वायलेट कर सकता है, और इसी की वजह से and that is why I define this thing. So let's see what is the definition of the state as per the article 12. Now remember, here the state doesn't mean the normal state जो हम normally कहते हैं ना, महाराष्ट्र स्टेट या कर्नाटका स्टेट या तमिलनाडु स्टेट, हम जो स्टेट कहते हैं वो स्टेट is different. That is not the state. Here the state is having a different definition, or it is having a different opinion or different meaning. So here state means what? Government, yeah, the authority which is having the power, right? So that is what is mentioned here. The state includes. So remember, Parliament of India is also the state, because Parliament of India makes the law, and the laws which are made by the Parliament of India are implemented by the government, and that is why this is also the part of the state. So whatever the laws, जो भी laws बनाए जाते हैं, पार्लियामेंट में, जो भी पार्लियामेंट में जो कानून बनाए जाते हैं, जो भी पॉलिसीज बनाए जाते हैं इन द पार्लियामेंट, that cannot violate these fundamental rights, right? जो फंडामेंटल राइट जो दिए गए हैं नीचे में, वो पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया वायलेट नहीं कर सकता है, ये गवर्नमेंट वायलेट नहीं कर सकता है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट द गवर्नमेंट एंड द लेजिस्लेचर ऑफ ईच स्टेट इन इंडिया. तो इंडिया में जितने भी सारे स्टेट्स हैं, all the state government as well as the state legislature, they are also the part of the state, and all local and other authorities within the territory of India under the control of the government of India, all this will come under the definition of the state. So remember, the state means as per article 12 of the Indian Constitution, India के constitution के article 12 के हिसाब से, the state means the government, that is union government, that is union legislature, then the state legislature of all the state, and the state government of all the states, Apart from that, local bodies even like gram panchayat, jila parishad, panchayat samiti, mahanagaraparika, corporation, all these are also under the definition of the state. And ye jo state hai, all these authorities, that is parliament, then government, then state, all these authorities cannot violate the fundamental rights. Yeah, normally fundamental rights the authorities violate karte hain. Clear? All have understood why the very first article of the fundamental right chapter defines the state. Is it clear to you? Hiran, Swapnil?
Yes, sir.
Check.
Yes, sir.
Now let's move on to Article 13. Now Article 13. So next article, that is laws inconsistent with or in derogation. अगर गवर्नमेंट या स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर अगर कोई ऐसा लॉ बनाता है which is in derogation or which is inconsistent with the fundamental, तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में क्या होगा? That is what is explained in Article 13. So both this article, Article 12 and Article 13, are general in nature. Right? It exactly is not having the fundamental right. मतलब उसमें fundamental right क्या explain नहीं किया गया, but Article 12 defines the is that कि अगर कोई ऐसा कानून है, अगर ऐसा कोई लॉ है which is inconsistent with the fundamental right, मतलब ये fundamental right के against में है या inconsistent में है, then ऐसे laws के साथ में क्या होगा, that is what is explained here. So all laws in the territory of India immediately before the commencement of this constitution, मतलब ये constitution शुरुआत होने से पहले जो इंडिया में जितने भी सारे कानून थे, क्या आज भी इंडिया में 1950 से पहले कानून है?
Yes, sir. There are certain there.
Has, sir.
1950.
Yes,
There are almost majority of the laws in India. They have been formed before 1950. तो ऐसे जितने भी सारे कानून है इंडिया में, अगर ऐसे कोई कानून अगर फंडामेंटल राइट्स के इनकंसिस्टेंट में है, if there is any laws enforced in the territory of India immediately before the commencement of this constitution, so far as they are inconsistent with the provisions of this constitution, they shall be considered as void. मतलब ऐसा अगर कोई कानून है 1950 से पहले या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन शुरुआत होने से पहले अगर ऐसा कोई कानून था जो फंडामेंटल राइट के अगेंस्ट में था या इनकंसिस्टेंट में था, तो ऐसे सारे कानून को क्या किया गया है, उनको वाइड डिक्लेयर किया गया है. वाइड मतलब वो खत्म हो गया, देयर इज नो वैल्यू फॉर दैट दैट लॉ. So what is the meaning of Article 13? This Article 13 is trying to say that कि जितने भी सारे कानून कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से पहले जो हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स के इनकंसिस्टेंस है, ऐसे सारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स को वाइड डिक्लेयर किया गया है. या स्टेट भी कोई ऐसा कानून नहीं बना सकता है कि जो फंडामेंटल राइट के खिलाफ में हो या उससे इनकंसिस्टेंट. दैट इज व्हाट इज मेंशन्ड इन आर्टिकल 13. क्लियर? Now first category of the fundamental right, the actual fundamental right starts from Article 14. Fundamental right Article 14. The chapter begins from Article 12, but Article 12 and Article 13 does not explain us the exact fundamental right, but actual fundamental rights are they are started from Article 14. So the very first article, that is Article 14, is equality before law. So what is the meaning of this article? That everybody in India, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their race, irrespective of their gender, they are equal before law. But equality before law. So what it is mentioned here, that you can see the state shall not, remember, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट कि अब फंडामेंटल राइट को जब हम डिस्कस करते हैं ना, तो हमें ये ध्यान में रखना है कि फंडामेंटल राइट्स आर सर्टेन थिंग्स व्हिच स्टेट कैन नॉट डू। समझ में आएगा फंडामेंटल राइट्स क्या है, कि ये फंडामेंटल राइट्स ऐसे कुछ राइट्स हैं कि जो स्टेट नहीं कर सकता है। दैट इज व्हाई यू कैन सी मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फंडामेंटल राइट्स द स्टार्ट्स विद द टर्म द स्टेट शैल नॉट। अब ये इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ हमने आज ही देखा था, राइट? आज के न्यूज़पेपर में एक आया हुआ था, इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ एंड पर्सनल लिबर्टी। ये दो चीजें हैं जो एक दूसरे के साथ में क्लैश करता है, उसको हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे। बट हियर इट इज मेंशन्ड दैट कि ये इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ कौन वायलेट नहीं कर सकता है, इरम? हु कैन नॉट? यस, हु इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ मतलब स्टेट जो है, स्टेट मतलब कौन? पार्लियामेंट, यूनियन गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर या ग्राम पंचायत या लोकल अथॉरिटी। ये जितने भी सारे स्टेट के डेफिनेशन में आते हैं, ऑल दिस पीपल दैट द स्टेट शैल डिनाई एनी पर्सन इक्वल लॉ। मतलब हर कोई कानून के सामने समान है, इक्वल है। And equal protection of the laws. Of course, everybody is having the equal protection of the laws, and everybody will be having the equal punishment. तो अब क्या हो गया, ये आज का जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो जजमेंट आया था वो वही है। मतलब कुछ लोगों के लिए अलग न्याय और कुछ लोगों के लिए अलग न्याय, ये ऐसे नहीं होता। So there is a equal protection of the laws, and everybody is equal before the law, irrespective of these people, whether they belong to Gujarat or whether they belong to Maharashtra. Everybody is equal. Is the question. So Article 14, what article says that? The state shall not deny to any person equality before law or the equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. So that is what is Article 14. So what is Article 14? Article 14 is equality before law. इसका मतलब क्या है कि the state cannot violate this equality before law to the citizens. मतलब स्टेट जो है हर किसी को कानून के दायरे में हर कोई एक समान है। ये समझ में आ गया, राइट टू इक्वालिटी और व्हाट इज इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ अंडर आर्टिकल 14। द सेकंड इज आर्टिकल 15, दैट इज प्रोहिबिशन ऑन ग्राउंड्स ऑफ रिलीजन। मतलब यहां पर देखिए इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ एक है, एंड उसके बाद में क्या है कि द स्टेट कैन नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेट। यहां पर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन का लिखा गया है, द स्टेट शैल नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेट अगेंस्ट एनी सिटीजन। तो यहां पर भी देखिए स्टेट डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं कर सकता। अब स्टेट डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं कर सकता है तो क्या कोई प्राइवेट एंटिटी डिस्क्रिमिनेट कर सकता है? यस इरम, कैन अ प्राइवेट एंटिटी डिस्क्रिमिनेट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ रिलीजन, रेस, कास्ट, सेक्स एक्सेट्रा? फॉर एग्जांपल, सपोज आई एम टेकिंग अ क्लास। अब मैं क्लास ले रहा हूं, तो आई एम नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ द स्टेट नाउ, because I am not a parliament, I am not a government, I am not any authority. अब मैं सपोज अगर डिसाइड करूंगा कि I will teach only to the Muslim students, I will not teach to the non-Muslim students. Will it be a violation of fundamental rights of the non-Muslim students? Yes or no?
No, sir. No, sir.
Swapnil, what do you think? Suppose if I decided that I will guide only to the Muslim students, I will not guide to the non-Muslim students, तो क्या ये फंडामेंटल राइट का वायलेशन होगा या नहीं होगा आपका?
No, sir.
इन हिंदू, नो, व्हाई नॉट?
Because in certain articles we have the right that we can constitute the private institute on the religions. So that fundamental has given us the right that we can make this religious institute.
But I am not institute, I am an individual person.
Yes,
But
the
sir, this is
individual
your own
person
choice,
can
sir.
also.
Yes,
This
sir.
is your own choice, sir. Yes, sir. This is your own choice, sir. If you want to teach non-Muslim students, if you can teach, sir. Otherwise, you don't teach, sir.
But suppose if my coaching institute was a state run coaching institute, मतलब गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा स्पॉन्सर्ड
Then, sir.
या गवर्नमेंट के
Then it
द्वारा
is
फंडेड
violation.
अगर होती तो?
Yes, sir.
Why
That is
didn't
a
it?
violation of fundamental right.
यस, सिंस आई एम नॉट स्टेट, मतलब मैं स्टेट नहीं हूं, इसलिए ये फंडामेंटल राइट का वायलेशन नहीं है। लेकिन अब यहाँ पे देखिए क्या लिखा है, यहाँ पे प्रोहिबिशन ऑफ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, मतलब स्टेट डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं कर सकता। The state shall not discriminate against any citizens on the grounds of only religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. Got it? मतलब state discriminate नहीं कर सकता है on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste, and that is why it is called as secular constitution. समझ में आ गया? कल हमने देखा था ना प्रियम्बल में क्या लिखा गया है? That Indian constitution is a secular constitution. So what is the meaning of secular? State will not have any, and state will not discriminate the citizens of the country on the basis of caste. So this is what is the objective of the Constitution of India, and this objective of the Constitution of India is met through this fundamental right, or it is achieved through this fundamental right. Clear?
Yes,
समझ में आ गया? So equality before law and prohibit discrimination. The state shall not discriminate. So that is what is mentioned in Article 15. Now Article 16 is equal opportunity in public employment. Of course, जो भी public employment होगा, जो government employment होगा, जहाँ पर public employment का मतलब होता है the employment which is provided by the government. तो in public employment, equality of opportunities, हर किसी को equal opportunity देना चाहिए. Article 16. Then आपके मन में एक क्वेश्चन आता होगा कि equal opportunity देना चाहिए that no citizen on grounds of only religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth shall be discriminated in any employment or office under the state. So reservation, what do you think that reservation is against Article 16? Yes or no? Like Article 16 में ये कहा गया है कि everybody should be given equal opportunity and the state shall not make any discrimination on the basis of caste while giving public employment or government job. तो reservation जो दिया जाता है, don't you think that it is a violation of Article 16 by the state?
No, sir. It is
Yes or
not
no?
violation. No, sir.
Why not?
Because sir, इसी आर्टिकल में सब क्लॉज 4 में दिया हुआ है कि स्टेट अगर चाहे तो जो कैन एक्सप्लेन?
Yes, yes, continue.
स्टेट अगर चाहे तो जो भी बैकवर्ड कम्युनिटी होता है उस सेक्शन में जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव कम है उनके लिए रिजर्वेशन दे सकते हैं. तो स्टेट
रिजर्वेशन दे सकते हैं. Correct, right.
Yes.
So Maratha community का जो डिमांड है that reservation should be given to the Maratha community on the basis of caste. Is it a constitutional demand or it is a unconstitutional demand?
Yes sir, वो तो एक जो मंडल कमीशन के थ्रू जो 50% का जो इशू आ रहा है सर, इसीलिए उनका जो रिजर्वेशन है वो रोका गया है सर. मतलब 50% से ज्यादा रिजर्वेशन नहीं दे सकते.
So demanding a reservation on the basis of caste is a constitutional demand. Better again, but अब इश्यू कहां पर आ रहा है कि whether Maratha community is a backward or not, उसको लेकर इश्यू आ रहा है. Like the data, like the Supreme Court is asking for empirical data which shows that this particular caste is backward, socially backward and economically backward. That is what is mentioned here. क्या लिखा गया था? Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provisions for the reservation of appointment or post in favor of any backward class. तो किसको रिजर्वेशन दिया जाता है? The reservation is given to the backward class. अब backwardness जो है, it is a social backwardness or it is a economical backwardness or it is both. कैसे मतलब कौन से backwardness के लिए? Both, right? It is both. Like economically backward है कोई और या कोई social backward है, तो ऐसे backward class of citizens के लिए reservation government दे सकता है. अभी जो मराठा community की जो demand चल रही है, the reservation should be given to them. Why it is contested? Because as per the empirical data or as per some of the people, Maratha community, since it is not backward, मतलब जो empirical data हमारे महाराष्ट्र में जो दिखाई देता है, जिसमें majority of the political leaders or MPs and MLAs are from Maratha communities. Majorities of the Maratha communities are having sugar factories. Majority of them are wealthier. They are not poor. Economically also they are not backward. Of course, socially also they are not backward because Marathas are considered as a higher caste community in India. एंड दैट इज व्हाई मराठा कम्युनिटी को रिजर्वेशन नहीं दिया जा रहा. दिस इज व्हाट इज द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल, यू कैन से, पेज. ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल क्या है, हम क्या कहेंगे, लॉकजाम. ऑल ऑफ अंडरस्टूड. अब यहाँ पर क्या लिखा है देखिए, एनी बैकवर्ड क्लास सिटीजन इन द ओपिनियन ऑफ द स्टेट इज नॉट एडेक्वेटली रिप्रेजेंटेड इन द सर्विसेज अंडर द स्टेट. मतलब अगर महाराष्ट्र के गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स में अगर मराठा कम्युनिटी के लोग अगर एडिक्वेटली रिप्रेजेंटेड नहीं है तो तभी उन्हें रिजर्वेशन दिया जा सकता है. तो एम्पेरिकल डेटा शोज दैट कि द मराठास आर एडिक्वेटली रिप्रेजेंटेड इन गवर्नमेंट अंडर द स्टेट. मतलब महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट के जितने भी सारे जॉब्स है वहां पे मैक्सिमम लोग मराठा कम्युनिटी को बिलोंग करते हैं परसेंटेज वाइज, एंड दैट इज व्हाई द रिजर्वेशन इज बीइंग डिनाइड टू द मराठा कम्युनिटीज एज पर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया. तो ये इश्यू समझ में आ गया आपको, व्हाट इज द मराठा कम्युनिटी डिमांड फॉर द रिजर्वेशन एंड व्हाई एंड हाउ giving reservation to certain backward communities is not the violation of Article 16 of the Indian Constitution, that is equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. It's clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now let's move on to the next article, that is Article 17, that is abolition of untouchability. What is untouchability? Can anybody explain me what is untouchability or what was untouchability? Now when I am saying what is untouchability, I presume that in India still there is untouchability practiced in India. So what do you mean by the term called untouchability? Yes, Iram, any idea about it?
सर लाइक प्रीवियस टाइम में कुछ लोग कम्युनिटी के बैकवर्ड क्लास के होते थे जिन्हें टच करना वगैरह मतलब ये श्राप माना जाता था. तो फिर इन लोगों की डिमांड होने लगी कि ये अनटचेबिलिटी एक्ट को लाया जाए, मतलब अबॉलिश किया जाए.
Yes.
So in 1955 अबॉलिशमेंट ऑफ अनटचेबिलिटी एक्ट लाया गया, जिसे बाद में अमेंड करके प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ सिविल राइट्स एक्ट 1976 बनाया. 1976 में मतलब अमेंड किया गया.
Very good. Yeah. So untouchability means, this is why the studying of history is also important for UPSC aspirant. Because India का जो current constitution है, the current constitution of India, ये हमारे जो हिस्टोरिकल हिस्ट्री में जो चीजें थी, हमारे हिस्ट्री में जो सोशल सिस्टम था, जो इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम था या जो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम था, जो some of the social system, economic system and political system was not as per the modern thoughts. तो उनको ध्यान में रखते हुए एक मॉडर्न कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया गया. So the Constitution of India, like I told you, it has been created by the Indians by keeping in mind the Indian history, India's social, background, India's economic background, India's geographical background, etc. तो इसी वजह से हिस्ट्री पढ़ना भी जरूरी है. So untouchability was practiced in India, बहुत तक, मतलब इवन 20 years 20-25 साल पहले तक भी इंडिया में अनटचेबिलिटी को बहुत सारे जगहों पर प्रैक्टिस किया जाता था. इवन टुडे also the untouchability is practiced in India. I was watching one interview today on YouTube, जिसमें there are 2 or 3 Shankaracharyas. They have denied, or not denied as such, but they have refused to attend the ceremony of Ram Lalla in अयोध्या. अयोध्या में एक राम लल्ला की प्रतिष्ठापना की जा रही है, मूर्ति प्रतिष्ठापना या प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना कुछ है, वो किया जा रहा है. और ये प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना के समारोह में कुछ ने जाने के लिए मना किया. रीजन इज दैट एज पर दैट शंकराचार्य, जो प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना जो की जा रही है वो एज पर दी वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम नहीं है या शास्त्र के हिसाब से नहीं है. अब शास्त्र में क्या कहा गया है, ये प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना सिर्फ सवर्ण लोग, मतलब सिर्फ ब्राह्मण ही कर सकते हैं, शूद्र वैश्य क्षत्रिय लोग नहीं कर सकते, ऐसे शास्त्र में कहा गया. अब वहां पर ये जो प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना जो की जा रही है, वहां पर प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी विल बी प्रेजेंटेड, एंड दैट इज व्हाई, बिकॉज मेनी शंकराचार्य बिलीव दैट कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी इज नॉट सवर्ण, ही इज अ पार्ट ऑफ वैश्य कम्युनिटी. सो उनके प्रेजेंस में ये जो प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना जो की जा रही है, ये हमारे शास्त्र के खिलाफ में है. तो इस तरीके का जो मानना है, दिस इज ऑल्सो टाइप ऑफ द अनटचेबिलिटी. ऑल यू गॉट इट? तो ये इस तरीके की जो अनटचेबिलिटी है, पहले तो छुआछूत, मतलब छूना भी सिन माना जाता था इंडिया में, इस अनटचेबिलिटी को एबॉलिश करने के लिए कहा गया। अब यहाँ पर देखिए, यहाँ पर क्या किया गया है कि यहाँ पर स्टेट को कुछ करने के लिए कहा गया। पहले 3 में क्या कहा गया था? द स्टेट शैल नॉट, द स्टेट शैल नॉट, द स्टेट शैल नॉट। बट ये इन आर्टिकल 17 स्टेट को कुछ करने के लिए कहा गया। क्या करने के लिए कहा गया है? दैट स्टेट शैल ट्राई टू मेक लॉज टू मेक अनटचेबिलिटी अ पनिशेबल लॉ। ये उनको करने के लिए कहा, ऐसा कानून बनाया जाए कि अगर कोई व्यक्ति अनटचेबिलिटी को प्रैक्टिस करता है, उस व्यक्ति को पनिशमेंट दिया जाए। And that is why, as Iram has rightly said, in 1955 and subsequently, many such laws have been passed into the Indian Parliament to make untouchability a punishable law. Clear? समझ में आ गया? तो अब यहाँ पर आपको ये ध्यान में रखना है कि जब भी कोई फंडामेंटल राइट है या डीपीएसपी है, उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए पार्लियामेंट ने कुछ कानून भी बनाए। Right? So whatever the laws are made by the parliament and whatever the policies are taken by the government, these policies are as per either fundamental right or as per directive principle of state policy. Clear? तो कुछ फंडामेंटल राइट को इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए हमारे पार्लियामेंट में कानून पास किए गए। वन सच इज एबॉलिशन ऑफ अनटचेबिलिटी एंड एबॉलिशन ऑफ टाइटल्स। एबॉलिशन ऑफ टाइटल मतलब ये दिस इज आल्सो अगेन वेरी सिंपल फंडामेंटल राइट। मतलब इंडिया में टाइटल्स को क्या किया गया है? एबॉलिश किया गया। Here the government used to give certain titles to certain people, and those people who are having these titles, they consider them. So this, the titles which is given by the government, उसको भी abolish किया गया। Government cannot give or state cannot give any such type of titles to the citizens of India or any citizens. Like earlier there used to be titles like Rai Bahadur, Rao Bahadur, Sir, etc. तो ऐसे कोई टाइटल गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा नहीं दिया जाता है। This is what is called Article 18 abolition of titles. Clear? All have understood?
Yes, sir.
Hiram, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now the question arises, government जो अवार्ड देता है, लाइक भारत रत्न, पद्मश्री, पद्म भूषण, पद्म विभूषण, या हमने रिसेंटली देखा कि कुछ कुश्ती प्लेयर लाइक अर्जुन अवार्ड वगैरह। तो डोंट यू थिंक दिस अवार्ड्स आर वायलेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 18 of the constitution, that is abolition of title? Is it a violation or not?
No, sir, I don't think so. Means the people can, the government can give the titles, but they cannot use that titles.
Yes.
The individual person cannot use that title.
Like for example, Sachin Tendulkar cannot say that Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar himself. या जब भी अगर किसी व्यक्ति को भारत रत्न, जिन्हें जिन्हें भारत रत्न मिला है, उन्हें ऐसा नहीं कहा जा सकता। राइट? इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
And that is the reason, Bharat Ratna Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, earlier Bharat Ratna Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar term was used in many places, but nowadays this term is also not used because of the judgment given by the Supreme Court that the person who has got this award, he cannot use this title in front of his name. Clear? Okay, so we'll stop it here now. We are done with the first category of the fundamental right, that is right to equality. So remaining fundamental right, or very very important fundamental right, that is fundamental right to freedom, that we will discuss in tomorrow's class. Any doubts for today's discussion?
No, sir.
So we'll stop it here now. We'll continue tomorrow morning in the newspaper class. So have a good night to all of you.